Oh, smooth. Here we go. I'm gonna do the
There
intro.
we go.
There we go.
Here comes the intro. Hey, you're taking one. Okay. Hello. Hi.
You're muted. Oh, you know you're not. Okay, now you're unmuted.
Not anymore.
Hi, hey,
Hello.
welcome to Monday Munch.
God, we're smooth as fucking 30 grit sandpaper.
That a fresh jar of crunchy peanut butter.
Hello. Hi. I'm halfway off the screen because
Sharing
Hi.
the screen.
I'm sharing today. Sharing is caring. Let's do this.
Unless it's COVID.
And then it cares even more. Yeah. Like I'm gonna die, so I want you to die with me. The ultimate.
How nihilistic of you.
I am.
We're less than 1 minute in before Lab gets on their bullshit.
Right? Well, Lav has the good bullshit, though. Hiya, Lav. Welcome to Monday Munch. He's Mister. She's Jen. That's Alice. That's Dream. I'm the day 6 there. Introductions are covered. We also did like a video intro for those of you that are just listening on the audio version.
So this week we're going to be discussing finding your tribe.
I chose the word tribe because I just thought of warriors.
It's beyond more warriors. The idea of finding your tribe is a long-held tale even outside of white colonialism. The idea of finding the people in which you click with, your village, your family of choice, is something that is a part of the human society. I mean, we all have family members that we had to cut out of our lives because they weren't healthy for us in the path that we chose. But instead, we picked up these friends, these acquaintances that love and support us and push us forward. And these are the people that we call our tribe.
So now, question though, the people that didn't kick out the folks, but have just chosen to keep them around just to piss them off all the time. What do you call those?
Different.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Good answer, Alice. Good answer.
But yeah, people need people, no matter what kind of people you are.
Unfortunately, because even the fucking douchebags have tribes. And it's all about finding people that you align with and that help forward your values. But we are on a much broader and more important topic than much more specific and more important topic than just tribes. We're going to be talking about safe communities for LGBT plus people. So that's the big picture or the specific picture. I don't know which one. My words are not wording again today, so we're going to not word all day, so we're good.
Oh, it's a good thing you got me around then, huh?
Right. So you just pick up where I either fuck up or don't say the right things.
Well, when it comes,
it just clicks.
we do our best, and that's the other thing is we're part of the same tribe, we're part of the same village, we have the same goals, so we're going to work in tandem to achieve them. But your strengths are not mine, my strengths are not yours, and that's how it takes a village. Am I wrong?
Correct.
No, you're not wrong. Mr. says correct, you're wrong.
Correct.
I'm picking words. I shouldn't do that. Not my turn.
You are not wrong.
When it comes to creating these safe spaces for LGBTQIA plus family members and calling that tribe, remember that every experience is a lived experience. Just because you don't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I did not grow up with safe space for people like me who are pansexual. I was chastised, criticized, mocked, humiliated to the best of their abilities, but that means I have to give a damn. But I did find one eventually later in high school, and I was thankful for it, and I want to see more of them. Now, speaking of safe spaces, I believe Alice has created their own safe space. Have you not?
Multiple, yes.
Would you care to inform the audience as to how you went about that and what kind they are, etc.?
The one that's public is the only one I'm going to talk about.
Good.
I have a public Discord server where it's attached to my Facebook page, and in Facebook I am kind of a shit poster, so I'll run in a lot of leftist shit posting circles, and a lot of leftist shit posters are trans. So basically we went, hey, I've got a server, let's make this a cool place for trans people to be and feel safe. And at the beginning there was like maybe 2 or 3 people. There's like 60 in there now or some shit.
About that.
Very nice.
And like these are all people who know that if they come into this space and someone's gross to them, I'm going to kick that fucker out. And I've had to do that a few times. We've unfortunately had some admins come in and be like gross, like harassing people, and then we've had some people come in who like refuse to age validate. It was very strange. So like we'll have like I have a full-on set of rules written up in the Discord that like every person has to agree to be in the Discord, and a lot of it is don't harass people, don't make sexual comments at people without their consent. If someone in their intro says, hey, I don't want you to flirt with me, don't flirt with them. And it's mostly just set rules that keep people safe and then enforce those rules, and enforcing them tends to be the hard part for a lot of people.
See, that's why I need a private space. I can't bully gross people in public spaces, so like in a private space, I could just be an absolute raging asshole.
I think he's specifically talking about Facebook because Facebook censors the bullying that he does on there to these people.
But to bully the bully is like being damned by the damned, right?
No, not even close, really.
I'm a big fan of bullying the bullies.
When we're talking bullies here, the bullies that Mister's picking on is like transphobes and racists and just piece of shit people. They don't have the power to damn anyone.
I would like to add that, the word bully doesn't belong in this situation.
I do actually think Mister means bully.
Yeah,
like to actually bully the bullies. I do.
Yeah,
think
no, he does, but the other thing is called harassment, and it's a crime.
Yeah.
Bully the harassers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So when it comes to
unfortunately not going to see consequences. Go ahead, Day6.
True. When it comes to the safe space that you've created within Discord, the way you were able to maintain and create this safe space is a set of boundaries that you expect those in the safe space to adhere to, and those that don't will meet the consequence.
It's boundaries that are communicated as soon as someone joins the Discord server. They agree to them, they stick around. If they violate them, they get one warning, and unless it's something really gross, and then they just get kicked. And if they get that one warning and do it again, they just get kicked. Zero tolerance for bullshit.
Oh yeah. So
and
another catchphrase.
I try to create my home as a safe space. It's my sanctuary, and if I have the freedom to unload there, that means my friends, those that I invite in, should have the freedom to do so as well, without fear of chastising or judgment or anything like that. So if I have 2 friends over and one's just having a day, I expect the other friend, even though they may not know him, to have that level of compassion, because that boundary's already been set. This is a sanctuary. This is a safe place. And I'm also there to enforce it.
If they don't have that level of compassion, they're just not my friend in the first place.
Exactly. They are not only ousted from the house, but my life.
Yes.
But I believe that creating safe spaces for your tribe, anybody in your tribe, is a necessary thing for the sanity of everyone in the tribe. If everybody has a place, hi, Becca Bear. If everybody has a place that they can come to and feel safe, and there is somebody there to push the guidelines and make sure that everybody is safe, I think that this does so many good things for those of us that have problems getting our own feelings off our chest. For those of us that have been told to suppress our feelings, we can go to such a safe place. I'm on Alice's server. I feel 100% safe there. I know I could walk into the venting channel and bare my soul, and no one is going to think lesser of me. And I love that.
And if anyone does give you shit, I'm gonna just immediately kick them.
And I have 100% faith that you would do that.
And see, last year when my Facebook got, the audience took quite a jump, I made a point to, and that's what kept getting me banned, was being an asshole to the assholes that were there. But since I do cater a lot to your adult content creators and stuff like that, so my photo threads end up having, some quite thirsty pictures. They're fun, and it's it became a safe place for people to do so. But occasionally people would step over the line. So it's either at first I would try to just hide the comment, be done with it, act like it didn't exist. They go away because they didn't get any interaction. Didn't work. So the next time it became, absolutely saying something out of the way to them for saying something out of the way to the people in the threads. And then the third time, if there was a third time, like it depended on how bad it was. Obviously, if it was super bad, they were going. But that third time was when it became a public post, and those kept getting me banned. So.
That
I will say something that never took 3 times. Sometimes it was just one thing that was like, oh my God, no, you did not.
And specifically, if
You
somebody
had to-
reached out to me in a private message and was like, hey, this is what that person said to me.
Always did communicate.
And I was like, oh, okay, I got you. And I posted that screenshot of that person having that conversation with the other person's information blocked out, of course. And then tag them in it. Like, this kind of behavior is your raise to have. You should be ashamed of yourself.
So, is it safe to assume that we can agree that to have and maintain a safe space requires both communication and stringent boundaries?
12 minutes in. Sure does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's where I was going.
Not
Thanks.
12 minutes in. I said my boundaries were communicated earlier. Thank you.
This is true. They had said that.
It is not communication. Okay. Communication.
Mm-hmm.
The goal of any and all of our segments is communication, because therein is where you're going to have a more beneficial and fruitful and healthy relationship. And that includes, obviously, your safe space. Without the boundaries that Alice has set forth on their Discord, people that came in would not know what lines to not cross, and it would be chaos. And people would be hurt left and right, and that's not a safe space. So they have communicated a stringent set of rules, and if any of those rules are in question, I know they're open to communication. And that's the key, though, is the communication and the boundary. And that's what's necessary for not only a safe space, but a healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Becca said yes. I don't know when she said yes, but she said yes.
She said yes a lot.
So yeah, so like the to me, so like I said, to take it back to that broader look, the safe spaces where you can be yourself, whether it's LGBT, whether it's other types of groups, or even people like autistic people. Do autistic people have like groups? I mean, I know some are super social.
Everybody has a different space.
So most autistic people will find someone else who's autistic and then just cling to that person.
Okay. So
And you'll end up having groups form that way.
Maybe not everybody has a space, but there is. Let me reword that. There is a space for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
there you go.
It's true. Whether you found it or not doesn't mean it isn't out there for you.
Well, if you're watching here, you found one.
I think so. The only thing we'll ever judge you for is who you voted for.
Oh my God.
That's not true. I'll judge people for a lot of things. It's just how severely I'm judging them.
Right, because I will totally judge somebody's use of there, and there.
Exactly. Especially given I use one of those as my fucking pronouns.
And they still can't get it right.
Two of them.
Day 6 also judges because people say conversating.
You son of a bitch.
Day 6, only one of those is a pronoun.
All
One is a contracted verb and one is a preposition.
right. So the
Oh.
preposition, yes, one is a contracted verb with a pronoun prior to.
Mm-mm.
The other one is a pronoun showing possession. But I will decline on the.
We're not here for a
Okay,
grammar lesson.
Wait a second. Now we need to boost it back up because there are some lines that aren't crossed.
If you're gonna teach me, Mister, you're gonna have to put a schoolgirl outfit on for me, okay?
I would totally put on the schoolgirl outfit in a heartbeat.
If I had one, I would.
Okay,
So what does that mean? I'm lost there. Washington.
Washington. Excuse me. In the state that I live, is there an R in our name?
Oh yeah, Washington State.
yes.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know how
Like,
long
if you want to rub my grammatical feathers the wrong way over conversate, which isn't a word, say Washington. That's gonna push my button harder. They
Okay,
just
but like,
like how you gotta put your
conversate
dishes in
is
the
a
wash?
word.
conversate is not a word. The verb is to converse.
No. Conversate is
Conversate is
a
to
word because
engage
you can
in
say it and you can
conversation.
write it down. How do you think words
Hold on.
are invented?
But it's
I'm
an
jumping in on
informal word.
I'm jumping in on Dreamside. Conversate is in the Oxford Dictionary. It's to engage in
like
conversation.
if people can say yeet, then conversate should be a word.
It's not even a colloquialism like yeet. It's in the Oxford Dictionary. Literally just means to engage in conversation.
It means
So
to-
it's fun, okay? That doesn't make it right.
Who are you to say what's right?
It might not be right,
We
but it
say
is
that
correct.
word up here all the time. You're just making fun of us at this point.
That's the best answer there. It may not be right, but it is correct.
Okay, so let's get back
So
to
let's
the topic.
move on away from grammar for a little bit.
Let's
safe
talk
spaces.
about safe spaces for the word conversate.
Okay.
So I think we've covered the essential essence of a safe space.
So
Well,
wait,
we all understand that, like.
So one
I
thing
got
that go ahead.
So also when you're looking for safe spaces, you should vet them beforehand yourself.
Yes.
Just because something says it's a safe space does not mean that's necessarily true.
100%.
Absolutely. And one important thing that we've talked about like indirectly, but safe spaces really provide mental benefits for marginalized people of any group. Because if you can speak and be who you are, and you don't feel those judgments and stuff like that, so you're going to develop more of who you are. Like a cat. I mean, cats create safe spaces everywhere they go. For them, like for no one else. Nobody else is safe. The cat is.
So that's a good way to intersect what Dream was saying. Not intersect it, but braid our conversation together. Finding your community, and the steps to doing that are. Anybody would care to chime in with?
So
Well, I
look
believe
up
it.
local hangouts and local groups on what's that app that everybody goes on to find? Meetup app, I think it's called.
Meetup, Eventbrite. There's truly tons of them. If you guys look near the top, there are different. They're acronyms. I don't know what half of them mean. To be completely honest with you, I did find those sites and stuff like that, but it kind of tells you what they do in a more generalized group there. But there are tons of places. Hell, Facebook has.
So also check your local library or your local college bull boards.
Yes.
Yep.
You know what? Let's go to the LGBT heaven.
Coffee
and
shops.
Coffee shops are a big one.
So we have a coffee shop that is corporate, yes, but it in my opinion, better than the Star Schmucks, that it started on the West Coast and moved slowly eastward, called Dutch Bros. And they're one of the first corporations to fully identify trans and non-binary. They list pronouns in the application, and people that use that to make fun don't get hired. The entire vibe that I have experienced with every single shop is one of acceptance and love. It's weird that you can think of a coffee shop as a safe space, but I believe that Dutch Bros is.
I want to jump in because there was a little bit of unwarranted Starbucks hate right there. The C levels at Starbucks are absolutely garbage. I'm not going to defend them at all. But the company at large, they have the pronouns, they have it on their application. They also actually fully cover transition surgeries. Not like just bottom surgery. They'll do top, they'll do facial reconstruction. Every surgery that you can get as part of your transition, they'll pay for. There's no copay or anything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
fucking wasn't expecting that.
So Starbucks, absolutely, its C levels are shit, and I'll go fight all of them in the Starbucks parking lot. But every Starbucks I've ever been to has been extremely queer. Every single one I've been to has had trans and bisexual baristas. The managers are usually some flavor of Alphabet Mafia, and I've never had the feeling of Starbucks not being a queer safe space.
Look, when I walk in and I see somebody with brightly colored hair and a bunch of tattoos, I know my coffee's about to be fucking phenomenal. All right. There are some judgments you can make about people that aren't always negative.
This is true.
Now given.
Agreed, Lav. Post lab comment.
I actually didn't realize they added a trans to the safe harbor they covered. That's so cool.
So Lab says, for those that are listening audio, Starbucks covers safe harbor to get trans and abortion care from unsafe places officially now. This is amazing.
It really is.
I may actually set foot on their property once again, but you had previously said there was unwarranted hate. As someone who is in a weird intersectional place of both queer and a veteran, there were some things that Starbucks did in the early aughts that shunned my veteran brothers, and so I had denounced them. However, in light of this, so a personal friend of mine was in admin when we took over the palace for Saddam Hussein, 04, 05, and they were out of coffee, supply chain fell apart, they couldn't get coffee. So they sent a letter to Starbucks requesting coffee. Now, in the past, many veterans have requested this of companies, and companies have come through because it seems to be the American capitalistic way that companies support our troops. Fine. However, when Starbucks wrote back, they sent no coffee and said, "We don't support the war or anyone in it." While I can understand not supporting the reason why we are there, the people that are there at the politicians' behest still deserve our support because they are the humans on the front line, in my opinion. Having been there.
You are entitled to be upset about that. You're allowed to have your opinion, and it's valid to have that opinion, but I don't agree with it.
I don't ask that you agree, and that is okay. And I thank you for validating mine.
Hey, speaking of, time out. Happy Memorial Day. Basics, you are a veteran.
Yeah.
Let me pause and note that real quick. Memorial Day is for those veterans that did not either make it home or have just passed after they have come home. These are for the fallen. This day is for the day for those that are dead. If you want to thank me, wait till November.
Well, what I was going to say was I'm sure you've lost friends overseas since you are a veteran, or even back home. So,
Oh yeah, I've actually lost more back home than I lost overseas, which says something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just wanted to make everybody know. I mean, everybody should know it's Memorial Day.
I
but Memorial Day,
we meant to open with that.
Yeah.
I'm a little.
we're a little, we're always so smooth with our openings.
Oh, it's just beautiful. But I thank you for your support of the troops, even though that there are policies in place we may not agree with. The troops, the humans that you are supporting and giving love to, I thank you.
The ones who came back and weren't actively doing harm always deserve support. And the ones that didn't get it are a tragedy. And those are the ones we should be remembering most.
I concur. 100%. If, for example, many of my veteran brothers and sisters in arms, and they, them, least, had a safe place in which to vent their angers, frustrations, sadness, harm, pain, they might have been able to pull through. But with a lack of safe spaces for any of these marginalized, and I don't care where the marginalization comes from, if you're from a marginalized community, you deserve a safe space in which to vent. If you are human, you deserve a safe space in which to vent.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to be controversial, do you think that applies universally? Really? I mean, truly?
I honestly do.
Mister, the logical conclusion of what you're saying is, do transphobes and other chuds deserve a place to vent?
Yep.
And yes, they do. What they don't deserve is a place to do so without challenge. They should have a safe space to go, this is how I feel and this is how I believe. And they should also have in that space someone who's going to go, okay, I can see why you might think that, but it's not right. And here, let me give you some helpful information to reshape your opinions.
Look, that's good, but if you're going to go into their space knowing that that's what they're talking about and that's what they feel safe talking about, maybe it's not safe for you to be there at all, and maybe you should find a more public area to do such things instead of going into a place that honestly you probably shouldn't be. Hi, Connor.
What I'm saying, Dream, is to create a space that they can come into and be educated, not to go into their space where you're going to run into dozens of people who think just like them.
Right.
Yeah.
And, as much as it pains me to say it, they deserve that kind of space privately because, I mean, they're, at the end of the day, still humans who, regardless of how flawed and incorrect they are in their views, they're still going to need somebody to feel safe around. In public, I don't want them to feel safe, but privately, have your friends, have your community, it's whatever.
I'm in full agreement with Alice. If people who had hate in their heart had a place to vent their hate, but still have it checked, where they could recognize their humanity and even the humanity in those that they are hating against, it would help them grow into a more compassionate human while still venting their humanness.
Yes.
Hey, Six, I dropped a link in the private chat. I'd like you to go read for just a second.
So we've kind of started on this segment here, but this segment we're going to be talking more about the power of connection and community. And like we kind of touched on it for a minute of where to find groups and events and stuff like that. But now events are a big thing right now because some events are being targeted. That has been publicly made, statements have been publicly made here recently by some right-wing extremists that Pride Month is going to be very eventful. And coming from that side of the spectrum of politics is not, it's going to be a fun time filled with lots of parades. It's coming from a place of saying, they're going to be at these places to make others feel unsafe.
Hey, can I just mention right now that we now have 69 subscribers?
Nice.
69, nice.
Somebody just texted me like, "Hey, I'm your 69th subscriber."
Yeah.
If you'll find out who that is,
Do they need a shout out?
Personally, shout them out. That's a significant number. Becca says having a place you feel connected and heard helps let you discover who you are.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that's why, like, I feel like even though I am a bit of an asshole and I do say some
A bit.
fucking wall things, it is a pretty safe space for most things because I've got these guys over here where I've got everybody here. I've got Alice and Day6 and Dream.
Mhm.
I've got all of you here to,
You know,
correct me.
I'll check you on air, and if you go too far, I'll come down there and kick your ass.
That's right. So is that how I get you to come visit?
No, we can make better plans than pissing me off.
Going.
All right, here's the stipulation though, Alice. If you have to go kick his ass, Jen, you have to tape it and holler out World Star. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. I'll at least holler World Star while I'm getting my ass whooped. How about that? Just in case
There you go.
But truly, I hope that there's no thought in my mind at any point could I ever say anything that would make anybody want to come here and whip my ass. That would take a lot, and surely
It would be pretty out of character for you.
Yeah. I'm frustrating.
I think
ass whooping frustratingly a person most of the time.
all of us here are enough of an asshole to recognize when we have to be that to correct another asshole.
Absolutely.
Just to kind of get us back on topic a little bit, the Pride Month is going to be interesting. If you're going to exist in a queer space as a queer person or an ally, that means as long as you can safely and legally, carry a weapon. Be ready to use it if you need to protect people.
I've already planned on that. I've got it in the works. So at my Pride events, I will be able to protect people if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can be a weapon if you try hard enough.
Oh, thank you, Becca. Can we post Becca's comment? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Please?
Thank you.
She says
That's
this group
awesome,
is
Becca.
feel like a freak and be willing to express more of who I am.
Well, if we're not making you feel like a freak, we're not doing our job.
Mister, you're towing the line. Do I need to hop in the car?
Come on. But
I love my freaks.
Hell yeah.
So when it comes to safe spaces, I mean, I know we kind of get all over the place. So I just thought about for something. I was checking my notes here. Having privileges others don't can allow you to create safe spaces others won't.
Indeed.
What we got?
Konbanwa, Cotton Japan. Kaki desu.
You lost me.
Yeah, well, that's the cunning linguist. Sorry.
I thought you glitched out again. I wasn't sure. I unfortunately know 0 languages, but no, having privileges like me.
So,
You.
I think Captain Japan is our 69th subscriber.
If you are the 69th subscriber, I mean, I'll check it
Nice.
later. The analytics stuff, it'll tell me who's subscribed. But fuck yeah, thank you very much. But no, me and Jim were talking about this today at some point, one of the other days. How about that? The other day. That covers, any from now in the past 10 years. I could easily walk into any of these hate groups, and as long as I spout out the right things and don't actually say what I believe in, I could learn who every one of these people are. And wouldn't that be fun?
As someone who is, like I said, I was a veteran. I was a veteran during the don't ask, don't tell as a right. So I could pass easily. And the fact that I'm also a white AMAB gives me more privilege than I would ever care to want. I recognize that it is there, and I would love to use that privilege to create a bigger, broader, safe space.
So just for the folks that may not know what the lingo is, AMAB, is that all men are bastards?
No, that's ACAB, assigned male at birth. as someone who identifies non-binary, this leaves out the gender that was selected for me by the doctor.
Gotcha. Just want to throw a little humor in there. I know, like, there's a lot of fucking lingo and acronyms and all that stuff that, I'll try to catch for folks that may not know it. But yeah, it's educational. At least, we do tend to educate, but having that privilege, is that I can go advocate in places that others can't. Day6 can go advocate in places that others can't. And it's a sad reality. I mean, it really is. That the advocacy needs to be there, but the fact that the privileges even exist, and so many people get their panties in a bunch when you talk about having a privilege. No, it doesn't mean I'm super wealthy and can do whatever I want to. It just means I have an advantage in certain aspects of life that others don't.
The way I had used to explain privilege to someone who was ignorant of the subject was to explain that I could walk down my street with an AR-15 in my hand and the ejection port closed, so you couldn't even see whether the bolt had anything in there or not, and I wouldn't get stopped for about a half mile. But a person of color could walk down the street with an AR-15 strapped to their back, ejection port open, bolt pulled back, magazine gone, and be pulled over and harassed within a block. That is privilege.
And I've seen it. I've watched two guys. Maybe it was a YouTube phase. I don't think it was TikTok, but they went through and they did that.
Exactly.
Then he was like, yeah, just walking around. He was like, oh, okay, just want to check and make sure, nothing's going on. He's like, okay, all right, have a good day. And then a black guy does the same thing, and he is stopped, harassed, asked for his ID, possible threats in the area, because they always have a possible threat in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And another way to think about it that's not just like, gender-based privilege is we all live in America. If we took our money and went somewhere else, we would be freaking rich.
Yeah, it depends on where.
In most places.
I will say in 400 of the 604 countries, that will be true.
You seem to have something you want to say, Alice.
The countries where that's true are countries that are historically overexploited.
Yes.
And potentially not a safe space.
Most of them aren't, because most of them, the U.S. has put fascists into power.
Sure not. We don't do things like that.
We don't. We're also not the U.S. government.
America.
So, you guys, why is it so important for us to find us a safe space?
So even having like a safe person to be around, if you're going somewhere that like you haven't been before and you've been in a group and somebody's like, hey, I'll go there with you, you're bound to be more safe than if you're just walking around alone.
Oh, like the buddy system.
Yeah, the buddy system.
Buddy.
That is true for going anywhere. If you can, don't go alone. But for having a space that people can come into, you can help, maybe help some trans people figure out some gender questions, or have a space to ask those questions and figure out their own answers. Or you can help, a lot of people who don't have that community will get real desolate and depressed. And a lot of them will deal with suicidal ideation. And just having that group is sometimes enough to keep them from pulling the trigger. A lot of the time, you also have people who don't really have a place to go because of stigma, in the kink community. And having that group of people is no, that's just normal. You have interest, just make sure it's consensual. And that's like that takes people from having that shame that can like tear someone apart to being decently well-adjusted people.
And when go ahead, Jen. Sorry. When it, I thought it was good too. Sorry. Don't want to diminish, Alice. You're amazing.
Dream, you were saying?
I was saying something.
You started to say something twice and got talked over both times.
I don't think I was. I think it just caught the audio on there from the talking. I might remember later, but I don't think I said anything.
We'll hold the space if you remember later.
Okay.
I would say put your hand up, but I don't know. So as much as I give Dream shit, this is one of those things. I mean, we're on video. Dream is not. Dream doesn't feel comfortable on video sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's one of those things. We have others that join us from time to time, and they have different situations where they can't join. So that's okay. We'll be here next week. You know, we aren't going. I'm not going anywhere. You guys can leave if you want to, but I'll still be every fucking week. But being a really good listener is important. I know we all talk over each other sometimes and shit like that, but when it comes to listening and seeing those kind of things and hearing someone out, that helps someone feel even more safe. If somebody's telling you something very personal that's happened, it's not your place to judge. Even if you've never been through that situation, try to understand. Go ahead, Alice.
You absolutely do have room. Like if someone's talking to you about the trauma, you do absolutely have room to judge the people who've hurt them.
Oh, for sure. 2 ears and 1 mouth. That is correct.
I love that comment, Becca, because that was one of the first things ingrained in my head that I had to struggle with as someone who likes to talk. It took a very long time for me to chew that very thought. You have 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 mouth. Thus, you should talk half as much as you look and listen. And that meant so much to me and has enriched my life.
Okay, but let's not discriminate against the people who have 2 mouths.
Look, having 2 sets of lips doesn't mean you have 2 mouths.
Oh, wow.
Check, please. Oh, Lord, mister.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that, Dream. I thought you were going to say something about deaf people.
No.
If you put them in a box, mister, how dare you?
Oh, man.
I did want to bring this to a point. When we talk about finding our tribes, finding our safe space, and the fact that there are safety in numbers, this brings us back to the fact that anthropologists believe and fully, what's the word I'm looking for? Stand behind the fact that humanity itself was created when we found the first healed femur. As a predatory species, if we can't hunt, we don't survive. However, humanity was born when we created a community, or at least a buddy, that helped one person get through a broken leg and still survive. Therefore, they hunted extra so they could both eat. They gathered more water so they could both drink. They took care of this person who could not move for themselves. Taking care of another human is the essence of humanity. We are here to take care of one another.
No, just because we all like to be nuanced and assholes sometimes. So what about animals that wait behind for other animals when they're sick or wounded, like geese?
All right.
So,
those are animals, not humans. That is the defining line between predatory and humanity. Go ahead, Alice.
So the definition that you're talking about isn't humanity, that was civilization. And there are animals that show, like Mister's pointing out, signs of proto-civilization amongst themselves. the anthropologists say that that is when civilization was determined to begin. Humanity exists in that humans have existed for however many thousands of years.
But even dating back to where that Neanderthal was the one with the femur that was healed, we had built a community, a civilization, a point of I recognize your need to exist, even though my need to exist is there as well. And I am going to help you to exist. To me, is a defining point on what defines humans versus animals. We as humans are a cultural, social animal. We need others to survive.
So do most animals in the wild.
Pack animals, pod animals, lions who take in gazelles as adopted.
Those are just to marinate the snack they're gonna have later. That's all they do.
Oh,
Actually, no, it's not,
Yeah.
because there's a mother lion who's adopted 4 of them and never touched them. Some other lion accidentally got them from her, though.
I was gonna say, given enough time, would we raise some carnivorous gazelles that way?
No.
Yeah, probably.
I doubt it. The gazelle's stomach will reject that first bite of meat. I promise.
Did you know goats are omnivores?
Yes, they are. My cousin raised.
Most herbivores are carnivores of opportunity, and that's why you have to keep your cows and chickens separate on a farm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've seen fucked up videos of like cows grazing and like a rabbit just gets too close and it's like, hey, what's up?
Hey, you guys, I'm here. You know, I don't like that.
We're all in favor of the cows, okay? So
Jen, I'm saying to keep that from happening, right? And
That's
keep
a
them
good
separate.
idea.
So it doesn't happen.
You guys eat cows and chickens all the time. You have no right to judge.
we cook them first.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back on topic because it seems like this space is getting less safe for Jen.
So throughout, there's been a whole bunch of stuff going on top of the screen. But there are quite a few, and most people that are in a marginalized community know a lot of their groups that are safe and places they can turn to. So as far as LGBTQ goes, besides like GLAD and things like that, you know, the major organizations, what are some smaller organizations that you guys might know of that are nuanced and we may not? But
most places that have any kind of queer community at all are going to have a nonprofit around that community. Like we have 2 in our area that are going to be running Pride events next weekend and the weekend after. And like going there and meeting them is a great way to network with other queer people to find if there's maybe a group that you fit in. Like at one point in time, I know there was a trans only D&D group here. That was a bunch of awesome nerds who wanted to hang out with other trans D&D players.
Yeah, we've got a new Pride group here that just started last year, maybe.
Mm-hmm. So it's our local Shelby Pride. I'm excited. There's a meeting tomorrow at 5:30 at the library, so I'm excited about that.
They host once a week or once a month.
I keep forgetting what the topic is.
So I know the person they have tomorrow is talking about is a drug and alcohol counselor. So I'm not sure like the exact topic. I'd have to look that up. But
Okay.
yeah, I'll be at work, so I won't be able to attend. But they always have people.
It's a
that are there to
great
empower the
community. Shouting them out. I mean, so my words aren't working very good tonight either. I'd like to shout out to the allies in the community, and that's how, you know, we found a local Pride community that existed. Because, you know, a person that told us about it. So it's good to talk to other people about the communities you know about and
That's how we found pink metal, that's for sure.
Yeah, that random guy that came out. Ironically enough, it was a coffee shop that we learned about first. Um, okay, sorry. Here we go. David. So David is the founder, I believe, of Shelby Pride. So some
Oh,
of us
my bad.
developing addictions, general self care.
Fantastic. Hi, Dave.
The URL is there. I can leave it up. Anybody can grab like, a screen
Fantastic.
grab of
Thank
it or something.
you.
I'll try to drop it on my thing in just a bit. That's the local group, I believe.
David said
But
that
yeah.
he's the president.
Okay,
As,
guys.
as someone who has been on a board of a board ran nonprofit, I understand.
Oh, okay. The group that was linked there is the Charlotte Gamers Network.
Oh yeah, that's a
Gamers
good,
Network.
right.
I haven't
great
been able to
group.
attend any of their stuff yet, but
They host all kinds of really cool events.
But now that I have a job where I get time to have a work-life balance, it'll be nice to go to these things.
So on another note, a organization that I have noticed in a lot of major cities, if you can find a group called Odyssey, this is another LGBTQIA safe space that I have found in the Northwest area. I know they had looked on expanding. I haven't talked to them since the late 90s. However, this was the safe space I told you that I had found once I was in high school.
I see it right here. It's Odyssey Youth Movement, maybe?
Mhm.
It's the first thing that popped up when I Googled the thing. Oh, they're hiring right now for drop-in facilitators for
Google
18 an
is
hour.
is an amazing ally.
Oh, for sure. Right. It's nice that there isn't censorship like that, because that would
Mhm.
suck. But if, the scary part is I can also say when at the current moment, but if things get to that point, word of mouth will be the absolute key to everything.
Another venue that you can go through to look for queer groups is like performing troops, because if any of you know like theater kids, there's going to be a lot of queer people in there.
Oh,
For example, Lav and I went and saw Burlesque last week. That
Yep.
is entirely queer and trans people.
Nice.
Very nice.
It's the Sex Kitten Burlesque up in Columbus, and we walked in that space being like, we're not sure what's going to be here. Like, we've seen a couple of these people perform before, and we walked in and literally every single person in the bar was queer and or trans or both.
Absolutely. See, I love that. I love that. It really is like it's a nuanced network. Go ahead, Desi.
so I want to say that the last burlesque show I went to, I was very shocked to see a old acquaintance of mine there who I thought was a little further right leaning. However, he and his wife both showed up, tipped well, had a lot of love for the art and the artists, and so people can change is what I'm trying to say. Just throw that out there. It's possible.
And going to performances like that is a really common way for people to have oh shit moments that lead to change. If you've ever seen a chaser go to a drag show, you see the light come on real fast.
And going to these drag, so I got to finally go to my first real drag show last week.
Ooh.
Or the week before, but
Yep.
It was fucking awesome, and it's just it's a performance. It's fun. It's
Hosted by Two Guys Productions in
Moondog Pizza in Asheville. So or Morganton, not
It
Asheville.
was good time.
But
Great
oh
time.
man,
They're a fantastic group of people.
I think I've got one coming
Performances are
this
amazing.
Thursday.
Hmm?
There's one coming up this Thursday, I think, and what's the name of that place? Indigo.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But so, yeah, I mean, you're going to have little nuanced groups and stuff like that in your smaller towns, your smaller locations. In your big cities, you're going to have some more openness, depending on what the city is, I suppose, and where it's located. But but you're going to have more resources to grab hold of. So if you are in a small town like we are and like we're near, you're going to want to definitely spread the message the safest and best ways you can. There it is. June 1st is Pride Night at Indigo, and I'm pretty sure I'm off on the 1st. Yep, I took that off just in case, so we'll be there for sure. So I'm excited. So as far as these groups, whether it be Shelby Pride, whether it be Two Guys Production, just hit the Sex Kitten Burlesque. So the places that these performers are welcome to and allowed to be in, those are businesses you should probably support because they keep a safe space going. At the local coffee shop here, Hannah's, they always, they do something with the Mental Health Association, which is what this is for. They do stuff with Shelby Pride. They're a big sponsor for them. They work with them very closely. So it's important to keep those places in business so you have safe spaces to go and good connections. And more often than not, they are small businesses of some kind.
Locally, we have a restaurateur who has 3 restaurants here who hosts our burlesque events in tandem with one of our companies here. And it is an amazing experience all the way around, from good food to great entertainment. What are you laughing about, mister?
The private conversation there.
Leave me alone.
Oh,
wow. Wow. Wow.
I don't know what everybody's laughing about either.
I got you.
I'm not going to worry about it.
So it started there.
Yeah, that's interesting coming from me, right?
Oh my gosh, can I read this? Does anybody say no to me?
I'm okay with you voicing what I said. That is all I can vouch for. Outside of that,
Yeah,
the rest is up to
go ahead.
Minus the last
Actually,
message I just sent. Yes.
so-
go ahead.
Everybody's on board.
Someone wanted to know what CLT stands for.
To be clear, it stands for Charlotte. Before we get into the next part of this, it stands for Charlotte.
And it's so funny because everywhere at the airport and everywhere in Charlotte, they have CLT on the sign, and I say click. And anybody I'm with just like, yeah.
So in the private chat, what does CLT stand for, dear?
Cock and lung torture.
Is this like masturbating with CS gas? I'm just wondering and asking for friends.
Oh.
I'm sure Alice can tell you all about it.
So that's making you take a real. Never mind.
And no, the reason I asked you, Alice, was because you're knowledgeable.
CLT just means Charlotte.
Oh,
Apparently, yeah. I just now catching that info. Thanks.
You guys are ever flying in to see us, you got to go to the Clit airport, and we'll see you there.
Wait. Most AMABs can't find it.
That should not include anyone on this panel.
Correct.
Cool.
I said most.
Sometimes I gotta get my flashlight out, but I'll find that motherfucker.
Y'all are great.
Oh Lord in heaven.
I hear they're coming out with a GPS toy, so you can just lay it there and you'll find it every time.
Is there a cover on it? Sorry, what?
Oh goodness. Is it cool to shout that out, by the way, in the privates there?
Whoa.
Whoa. Yeah, no, just thanks, David. I appreciate it. And first off, my apologies. When you first came in, just throwing your link, I didn't know what to think of it. Thank you for doing what you do, my dude. And I'm sorry that CLT I didn't know that CLT meant Charlotte, for fuck's sake.
Good night.
Found it
Lynn.
though. I found it.
No, this is
Good night,
Tyler.
Lynn.
Oh
No,
boy.
no.
And by the way, David, since you're here, we have things for you. We have to
Too
get
many
up with you.
crickets. Yeah. So it's open tomorrow.
Huh?
Hoping for tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. So if you're there tomorrow night, Jen's got some things for you. But you do gain through finding groups and places like that. You do find support systems, whether it be to introduce you to more people like you,
Cool events around you.
Yeah, cool events
that are safe for us.
Mentors. I think so. On the topic of LGBT, when it comes to being transgender, I think it's important to find somebody maybe that is transgender. And correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not trans, but I feel like it's important to find somebody that's transgender that maybe has gone through some of the struggles you're going through or will go through, and help you out through that.
Anybody.
Anyone who can answer the questions, absolutely. But there is a comfort in knowing that this person has lived this experience that you're going through. So, like, yes, you could absolutely just go find some gay or queer person and be like, hey, do you know things about trans stuff? But if you have someone who is trans, who's like in West Virginia, I've been jumping through hoops for the past 2 years getting ready for bottom surgery. So, like, I have that experience that a trans adjacent but not trans queer person wouldn't have.
Right.
So I could talk to them and like maybe give them some of the advice that I have to offer, or just be like, yeah, I actually do understand. This really fucking sucks.
Right. The sympathy and empathy that somebody from a certain situation of any kind that has lived through those things can give is completely different than reading medical journals and reading articles and all that stuff. I mean, there's something about a lived experience that matters. And Rebecca, I'm not putting up the correction there. We're just going to leave it at this.
All right, guys. I do gotta head out for now. I love you all. Good night.
Peace out, Cub Scout.
Good
Love
night.
you.
Good night, Dream. Love you.
Sweet dreams.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Asshole.
I am now on the bottom, but no one in the panel has topped me. What's happening?
All right. Well, switch with Alice and I, because I would let them top me in a heartbeat.
Switches and bottoms and switches.
There we go. Switches and bottoms.
Oh, Jen's got her phone. It popped back on for some reason. So give me a thumbs up if you want to be on your own stream there, dear.
And only for you, Alice. Only for you.
Hi. We're gonna stop for a little bit. Yeah, I'm just fine.
Oh, testicle wedgies are not fun.
Oh my goodness. What an interesting topic.
What, testicle wedgies? Yeah, no, it's wild.
They're the worst.
They are absolutely.
Part of the reason I want to get rid of them.
I understand. I get it now. Like, I'm not trans, but I fully understand. So, fun time. Who knows the history of how the LGBT movement started?
With black trans women? What?
It depends on what you mean. Are you about to talk about Stonewall?
Yes.
Trans women of color threw bricks at cops, and then everyone wanted to pretend it wasn't a riot.
That's so great. Like that's how that obviously it's not where it started, but that's like where the publication of it, the first real steps forward to have an equality of any kind, and for it to be trans women of color is a whole different level of fuck you.
I don't know that there is a single group that could be more marginalized.
Right. Like
they're the most intersectional ones, and that they threw bricks at cops to help all of us is amazing.
It's fucking amazing. I love it. I really do. Yeah. I don't think. Can you get more marginalized than that?
I really don't think you can. Coming from an American white cis het patriarchal society, no. If you're a trans woman of color, that is like the epitome of the opposite of cis het white Christian male.
Throw in a disability, and you're way like that's about as marginalized as you can get. I don't know.
Maybe also make them a communist.
There you go.
Wait a minute. That's whoa.
Oh god.
Communist. Oh, okay. Wait a second. The communist ideology, I don't believe, is marginalized, and I believe since it's an ideology, it's not something you're born into. It's something that you think of and can change your mind about. Because I know those that were communist when they were younger and are not now, and then I know those that weren't before and are now.
You just stop.
Are you getting mistered right now, Day6?
No, I am not. I refuse.
It's not me this time.
I would like to remind you of a period of history called the Red Scare, the policies of which still affect us today.
I'm fully aware of what McCarthyism meant and did stand for. As someone who is a very, very proud communist, however, this is still an ideology, not some way you were born. We all agree we are born trans, we are born the way we are born queer, we are born straight, we are born the way we are. But our ideologies have the capacity to change.
And if I'm going to be ostracized or othered in society, if I don't change that ideology, which fundamentally doesn't need to change because it's not an evil ideology, then that is being marginalized. It's just being marginalized over something that isn't your body.
Fuck all. I love you, Alice. God damn you.
You've been mistered.
I got in-school suspension for a month for giving a presentation on communism for AP Civics.
Wow.
Fuck.
That's the tone people have about communism around here.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord. We're not going to get into this because this is going to be for next week at about 2 hours prior to when we start Munch. We're going to have a whole political discussion, Mr. and I, especially if you have any TikTok account that is not following Mr. Go over there and follow him so we can get him live and we can go live on 3 different platforms, not just 2.
That's right.
I'm going to have to find someone to unfollow. I've hit the follow cap on TikTok during the pandemic.
Okay, you're going to need to find 2 because follow me, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
The follow cap for the record is 10,000.
It is. It's horrendous, but it's still achievable.
Basically had like 6 months where I was just scrolling through TikTok endlessly because I was not in great mental health place and just following every queer person I found.
But not me. I see how it is.
I didn't find you.
I know. I heard the semantics in there, but it's still the point. Yeah, thanks, Becca. Yeah, you followed me over there. Of course, you've known me for 3 years, so you know.
What? That sounded like you spoke dinosaur for a second. What was that?
I'm sorry. I met her. Give me a second. April 2399. So I met her last century. Shut up.
Oh, speaking of fun things happening, even though we didn't speak of anything fun happening, speaking of zebras, have you guys heard about the new Florida? Well, have you guys heard about this specific Florida law about bloggers and press?
No.
They are trying to pass a law right now, which oddly enough didn't come from DeSantis. Like it came from somebody else in the Republican thing.
What?
Jason Brodeur. I don't know. Maybe that's his name. I don't know. I don't pay attention to him. But he proposed this idea that if you speak out against the government in Florida, you will be required to register with the state of Florida. So as soon as that passes, I will be at least once a day posting an article on my page.
Wait a second. Did you just state that DeSantis said if you spoke out against the government of Florida, therefore you are a citizen of Florida?
I don't think they've thought all that through.
So that would give us voting rights in Florida, cross state lines?
No,
Do they
no,
really want to crack that worm? Alex, please, love.
So it's not citizenship to. It's you have to register with the Ethics Commission in Florida. And if you like, it's a monthly registration. You have to pay a fee. You have to disclose any monetary, like anything about your blog, like AdSense, gifts, donations, payment for articles.
You think I keep up with that information?
If you don't do that, you have to submit one of those every month. And if you don't do that, you get a fine of $25 a day that can stack up to $2,500. And if you reach $2,500, it becomes a felony.
What? I could be a felon in a month?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh no, it would be
I don't know that this bill is going to pass. It is very unreasonable, even for DeSantis and his cabal.
It might pass, but it will get checked at the district court level before it ever sees the Supreme Court. The district courts, theirs are still going to have enough sense to say, fascism much?
First Amendment all the way. Like, you can't violate it that fucking obviously. But if they do,
yeah.
I hope it'll be retroactive, so I can go ahead and just say fuck Florida and their government. So if it's retroactive, we'll get started now.
I want to read.
Video.
I want to read what Broder said about bloggers because it's so asinine. Quote, paid bloggers are lobbyists who write instead of talk. They are both professional electioneers. If lobbyists have to register and report, why shouldn't paid bloggers?
Because money.
Can somebody donate $1 to me because like I want to be a paid blogger? So I can fit into this after it passes. Wait till it passes, at least. You don't have to donate right now. Just $1. It counts. Yeah. So safe spaces. We are a safe space for a lot.
And so I think we just covered that Florida is not a safe space if they believe that freedom of speech is a thing that they can revoke.
I do want to add on a little caveat because I've got an article breaking down the bill over here. Websites, like blogs on websites that are run by newspapers or quote similar publications are completely exempt from this bill.
Well, so I don't need to get involved.
You're fine as long as you post it to kingslayer.com because you're a similar publication. Therefore,
so to check that box, mister, you just have to have one person like subscribe and then send them a physical printout of one article.
But that would mean I'm exempt from it though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. Oh, fair. Hello, pretty Flogger Falls.
Ooh.
It's glowing in the dark, guys. You should get one.
Jen. I have black lights for my bedroom for when I'm using that flogger, and it's very nice.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have one that glows.
Yeah, I do.
So creating a community is simple. So if you're truly going to be an ally or somewhere for LGBT plus people to be safe, you can create a group at any time on Facebook. You can make that group private, and you could just have the people you want to in there and create the questions you want them to answer to get in. Like it's those kind of things. Like it's that simple to get started. Doesn't mean you're going to grow. Doesn't mean you're going to have 10,000 followers in 2 weeks, but it's a good start. It's another space. So if one space gets shut down, another space can exist. Are you gonna come find the clip, Day6? Is that what you're saying?
I have no trouble finding it. However, I have no clue where Charlotte is.
I'm just saying.
That sounds like someone who can't find the clip would say.
Rebecca says she thought you had a problem.
Day6, in your defense, should correct yourself. Mister's just being an asshole.
I can't prove it.
You can. You just have to rewind about 2.5 minutes. You're fine.
About 2.5 minutes, I'm done. I'm out. So
Yeah, you would be a two pump chump. I mean, what?
2 pumps. You believe me that much? Thank you. Thank you. I'm truly honored. But no, so even Discord servers, WhatsApp, what's the other one? Telegram. That was another one that the government's trying to get rid of because they can't monitor what's going on.
For the same reason, I use Signal like for the nonprofit stuff. It's all encrypted like end to end, so only the people who like run the servers can see the messages when they exist, but they're automatically deleted after an hour.
Very
so like
nice.
all of the church business, like I'll have like a number assigned to a person and say, today we met number 3 and took them on a trip. It took 3 hours, and that's like all the information I have.
That's good though. I mean, it's a shame you need that much protection and encryption, but the fact that you have your own lingo, you have your own codes for certain things, I mean that comes down to being important too. So nobody could ever get in there and be like, oh, they took Governor so and so out to dinner. No, they took number 3 to dinner, whoever the fuck that was. It's banned Sesame Street. Number 3's getting around.
I am. Everyone I'm taking anywhere is trans people that I'm helping. So, like, if one of the trans people I'm helping becomes governor, I will absolutely take them to dinner.
Oh, absolutely. So, how do you find allies?
Be an ally. Be in a public space where you can oppose the people who are being shitty, and the queer people around you are going to go, that person should probably be on our side.
Actually, it's more like that person is on our side. We recognize it. Now let's welcome them in and give them in on the, it's part of the community. As someone who has never had to think of how can I be an ally, because coming from a place of marginalization, I've always been an ally to even others that are marginalized. It's kind of a bread and butter. So when I see an ally, when I see somebody like you, Mister, stepping up and advocating for trans rights, for rights for all humans, that warms my heart, and it makes me want to welcome you into my home, my heart, my life. So 100% to find an ally, be one. You'll find more.
And even beyond that, I mean, if you're in a community, you're not every part of. So if you're in the Alphabet Mafia, you're more than likely. I don't think it's possible to be every letter that's there. I could be wrong.
It's not.
Okay, but wait, it's not possible.
It's not possible. You are correct.
So it's not possible to be everything there. So there's something in that group that you can be an ally to, because it's not your group. And that's, to me, that's what being an ally is. I'm not a part of any of those letters, but it is important to me to speak for all of those letters when I have a voice too. I'm trying to think of, are you sure it's not possible?
The reason it's not possible is because in the acronym, gay means gay men and lesbian means lesbians, and you cannot both be a gay man and a lesbian.
What if you're gender fluid?
That would be under.
That would be under trans.
Trans simply means non-cis. And cis means the norm, if you want to get down to the etymology of the words. And that's actually more, cis is non-trans, and trans is opposite of what is thought.
I would like to add, from a trans perspective, even if you are one of those letters, like I'm the T, there are sections underneath each of those letters that you don't fall under, right? Like I'm trans, but I'm not a trans man, right? And trans men's struggle is going to be very different from trans women's struggle. It's going to be very different from trans non-binary people's struggle. So you can be an ally inside of. Pansexual is kind of stuck in this weird, like, tacked on to bisexual space, but yeah, I'm also pansexual, so like we just get lumped in with the bi people, which is fine. We all end up with the most comfortable chairs anyway.
Honestly, like if I had my druthers, I would just change the B in LGBTQIA plus to a P, because to identify as a bisexual means to identify in the binary gender system, which is why, as someone who grew up in the 80s, 90s, first identified as bisexual, then realized that my love of humanity was beyond what they wanted in their pants versus what they were born with. So it just didn't matter. It seemed to me more equitable. Go ahead, Alice.
So bisexual is attraction to 2 or more points anywhere in the gender spectrum or ranges up to and including the whole thing. Pansexual basically says throw gender out. It's what's in their head, not what's in their pants.
Adding two-spirit, like it.
Yeah.
See, when it comes to the indigenous way of thought, those of my brothers and sisters of Turtle Island, with their understanding of what two-spirit is, I personally would more identify with two-spirit, because I know that within me has the capacity to be what is considered male, but I also know what is within me is also considered what is female. Because I will break down and cry, I will hold you, I will validate your emotions, but I will also step up and punch a motherfucker in the throat. So I can see the duality therein, and I can identify as both. So to me, two-spirit feels very, very much how I am. However, pan as a sexuality, not a gender identity, is to me what is accepting, because throw gender out. I don't care what you have or want or identify with twixt your pants. I'm cool with all of it, and let's play.
So now let me ask a question at the risk of sounding really ignorant. And you
Go
guys
ahead.
you both will always correct me either way. Two-spirited is just transgender
No,
native speak.
incorrect.
Okay, see, that's what I wanted to ask.
Two-spirit is typically not typically is strictly Native American, right? It is similar to the way Western culture portray trans people, except they usually like elevate two-spirit people as people who are wise because they can see both. But it's strictly Native Americans. Like if I were to say I'm two-spirit because I'm trans, that would be appropriative and gross. And you shouldn't
Indeed.
say that. That being said, like the things that are kind of excluded by not being in that acronym are the reason that I say queer instead of a bunch of letters when I'm talking, because queer is everything that's not cis and het.
Agreed.
Very nice, very nice.
I do want to circle back to what Day 6 was saying just a moment ago, because there were some traditional gender roles in there that you should get rid of.
Get mistered again.
Please.
The femininity of breaking down and crying, or the masculinity of like standing up and punching a motherfucker. Ditch all of that. I know women who will gladly kick my ass. I don't even have to pay them to do it.
God, I wish my friend Katie was here. She'd tell you about the time she folded me like a lawn chair. And not in like a sexy way.
I appreciate you checking me on that, Alice. Thank you.
Becca says I'm very feminine. I really don't like when I have to stand in my masculinity too long.
I am neither. I'm just me. And if someone wants to say I'm feminine, well, they're wrong.
And I will say, as someone who is older and more indoctrinated in this horrible patriarchal society, I have a lot to learn and a lot to shed. So thank you, and I will try to do better.
Oh, so if you guys didn't see it real quick, Jen just showed one of her new keychains. This is asshole.
Hell yeah.
She's already got me one. This is dick. Actually, can you see it better if I had the... No, okay. It says dick. So, you know.
I'm wanting to get a merch for my Facebook page so I can because the two slogans for my Facebook page are no gender, only ass, and slut kindly.
Yeah. See,
And I want to get keychains and coffee mugs of those, but that's
I would rock a coffee mug that said either one of those.
I like the slut kindly one.
Anyway, back on topic.
Is there anymore? Is there a topic anymore?
Allies. How to be an ally. Stand up for the people who need it. How to find allies, be an ally, and the people who need you will cling to you because everyone else is an asshole.
Yeah, and some of the allies are assholes.
Becca, same.
So I picked up a book the other day with all these book bans and shit going on. Speaking of, some weird state just passed a no book ban, a ban on book bans.
A book ban?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I picked this up the other day and I haven't read through it. But I wanted to because I felt like it's a book that could possibly be banned. Like, it's important to me to pick up all these books just because, one, I like books, two, I like educating myself, and three, if they go the way of being banned and burned and taken away forever, I've got it. I've got it to be a resource beyond all the stuff that's going on. So I thought it was really neat. It's called The Male Couples Guide.
Something that, on the topic of book bans, something that we have this time that we didn't have last time this was an issue is the internet. And most of the books that get banned are very quickly put onto the internet in a way that you won't really be able to scrub them off. So,
for example, go ahead.
If you need help finding any of said books, mister, feel free to hit me up and I will help you find them.
Oh, absolutely.
I can point our followers and those that are listening right now. Brooklyn Public Library made it nationally available. Let me say that again. Brooklyn Public Library in New York made it publicly available to all of the world. So any book that your state might ban, you can still go on the interwebs and find it in the Brooklyn Library.
So the fact that this book was updated last in 1992 really makes me want to read the part where it talks about legalizing your relationship.
That was because a burger fell happened in 93. No, 91. God dang it.
Do you want
I
to
feel
try
old.
that one?
Last century.
Do you want to try that one again?
I know it was last century. Shush.
You're off by a lot. It wasn't last century.
No.
Obergefell v. Hodges was 2015.
Oh, that's too recent.
That was 8 years ago.
Hold on a second. I thought it was Obergefell v. Hodges was the one that was overturned in 2012, November, when it was federally legalized for gay marriage.
Obergefell v. Hodges was 2015. That was the one that said, yes, federally we're going to allow same-sex marriages based on the idea of right to privacy and the Equal Protection Clause in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. However, that was 2015. I lived this because in West Virginia, gay marriage wasn't legally recognized until it was federally required. And that was in 2015.
The only reason I thought it was 2012 is because I thought it happened the very same day that Washington and Colorado legalized cannabis for recreational use.
Very nice. You're muted, princess. While you guys are looking that up and stuff, I found a line in this that makes me love this book a little more. It says, all the information and recommended documents discussed here are meant to keep you out of court, to save you the expense, trauma, and heartbreak of a legal system that does not generally recognize the legitimacy of a homosexual relationship. So this book might actually not be full of shit.
No, it's probably not full of shit. most. I'm not going to say no queer book is full of shit, but most queer books are not full of shit. Day 6.
Caw.
Well.
It worked.
I'm here. Sorry. I was emptying the ashtray.
The thing you were thinking of was in 2013, the third section of the Defense of Marriage Act was ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. And that was the thing that said federally, we can't recognize it. So when that was overruled, it went to there was no standing law on it. And then Abergefell v. Hodges happened in 2015, which put standing federal law on it.
Okay, thank you for the education. Welcome to How Many Times Can Alice Educate Day 6 tonight?
I personally lived that one because I had a boyfriend in 2013 who left to go to California without me because he couldn't get married here. Yeah.
First off, I'm sorry for that heartache. Second, you're better off now, aren't you?
Honestly, he was kind of a dick to start with, and it was my senior year of high school, so I shouldn't have been thinking about marriage anyway.
You mean you didn't find your true love in like 7th grade like everybody else?
No. Okay. Clara, the person in France, I met Clara in the 10th grade.
Very nice. Very nice.
I was in 12th grade. She was in 10th grade.
Very nice.
And we've been in regular contact since, and then bam. Now we're dating, and I'll be going to see her next year. I'll have a couple weeks in France in May.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
C'est très bon.
So we've talked about before understanding but not believing what the other side may think.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody watched that stupid fucking documentary, What is a Woman?
No. But it sounds familiar.
I think it was done by like the Daily Beast or the Daily Wire, one of those fucking don't know shit about shit publications.
I would say why.
I've never watched it. Because every time.
Of course, it was Matt fucking Walsh.
Yep, I figured.
Released by the Daily Wire, so Ben Shapiro's.
Oh my god! Like that's like immediately the go-to defense for everybody. So it's got to be some kind of propaganda shit because they're like, "Well, what's a woman?" Fuck, I don't know. I'm not one. I can tell you.
The film features Walsh asking various people, "What is a woman?" Walsh said it was made in opposition to gender ideology. And the definition of an adult human female is given by Walsh's wife at the end of the film, and that's so gross.
I'm just curious what an adult human female definition is.
The definition of what a woman is one who identifies as. Sorry.
You already know, mister.
I would like to put out also that while it was praised by assholes on the right, there's not a single medical expert who said anything nice about the movie. Several of them blatantly called it transphobic.
As well they should.
Not a small amount of people have also said that Matt Walsh was tricking people or trying to trick people into being in the film without knowing what they were doing, like what the film was.
That's the latest thing I've seen on it is somebody that was trans was like, he was trying to get me to be in that. And if Matt Walsh approaches you, blow your rape whistle.
If Matt Walsh approaches me, Mister, you're my alibi.
Oh, you were here the whole time. You were here on vacation. I don't know what you're talking about. So, are you ready? So sorry to any ladies that no longer have their ovaries or can't have children. The definition from biologyonline.com for female is an individual of the sex which conceives and brings forth young, or in a wider sense, which has an ovary and produces ova. There's also stuff about plants on here too. But... So you either can have kids or you're a plant. I've always hated that argument. Like, that's the only argument most of them have is like, they can bear children. What about the people that can't bear children?
there's not a good way to group a gender from any direction that isn't just the people who identify as it. Right? Because if you start being like, "Ooh, someone who can carry eggs, any man who goes to Walmart can be a woman temporarily," or like
I love that.
if you start saying that the man is the provider for the household and has the duty to earn all the money, then any businesswoman out there is suddenly a man.
See, I'm gonna start using that because I know some of these fellas have partners that make much more than they do. I'm like, so you're not even the man in your own relationship. How can you tell me what a man is? So use their arguments against them, essentially, not because I think that. Let's clear that up. Go ahead, Essex.
One of my first lived experiences in dealing with the trans community was a person who was AMAB transitioning to female. And one of the things that stuck in my head biologically was that this person had both sets of physiological markers. They carried a uterus, they carried ovaries, they carried testes, and a penis. Once they were able to invert, they were actually a trans woman that could bear children. So they were one of the few people that I was like, wow, that's amazing. But I understand that for those that identify women, not all, regardless of what they were born with, can still bear children. So there is zero modifiers that can be put within a gender.
No,
that makes it okay.
Did this person want to bear children? Like, did they want to have kids later on?
They did, actually. They had
awesome for him then.
They were very happy with the parts that allowed them to still bear children. And I wish I would have remained in contact. And in fact, I had met that person almost 20 years ago in the house of my now current lady, but we weren't together then. So I wish we would have maintained contact with this person so I could say, hey girl, how's life? Where you at? What you doing? Because they were so happy to have that capacity. And I just hope that their dreams and wishes were fulfilled for them.
It's like an evolutionary machine.
Right?
So I don't know the person's, I don't know if you know these answers, but I mean, you assume, so they have a penis and testicles, so they could possibly reproduce that way. And then through
not after the bottom surgery, no.
No, I'm saying like, and then a transition, and then they could reproduce that way. That's fucking
correct. They could both produce life and birth life.
You don't get any higher on the evolutionary chain than that.
I'm honestly terrified of trying to give birth if you have a penis. Just because you don't want that structure in the way.
No. See,
hell yeah.
Okay, I've heard enough horror stories from kidney stones. I don't think children are going to make it easy.
I can tell you some horror stories about kidney stones. I had one that was a centimeter across.
Oh, see, I've been fortunate. As much trash as I put in my body, that's one thing that's never come out.
I had a period where I was drinking too much, so my kidneys are kind of fucked.
Yeah. Can I just say how weird the human body is like that, though? Like, so my mother, before she passed, like, this is how we found out, but her life was filled with being an alcoholic and all this drug use and all this stuff. The thing happens to her, she gets her baked like a cookie in the sun. She goes in the hospital, and the doctors are like, her kidneys are functioning normal, her liver functions normal.
No.
What the fuck?
Right? Like, the only thing that caused damage to her was the extreme exposure to the heat, where she had passed out in the yard. But they were like, as far as functions and levels go of all the enzymes and all that stuff, they were like, everything's in range of where it should be. The fuck? And my dad eats like 60 pounds of salt on everything he makes. So, and his cholesterol is only slightly high. It's not even that high.
I'm guilty of that one. I salt the shit out of everything, and I have slightly lower than average cholesterol.
Which is amazing. Like, and then people tell you, salt raises your cholesterol and your blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. Red Bull will kill you, and I'm still fucking living, so.
I don't want to linger on the kidney stone thing for too long, but I just want to respond to Becca real quick. The one I had to get what's called a lithotripsy. Basically, they take a machine, they put it to your side, and they pound your side until the stone breaks up. I had to get that 3 times, and like each little tiny, like you'd lose like maybe half a millimeter off the surface every time it cracked and a piece came out, and every single one of them felt like pissing glass.
I'm good on
It-
that.
Yeah, it was not a fun time. And the ureter, the tube that goes from your kidney to your bladder, is full of scar tissue from that going down just from that one stone. I don't want to even imagine what a second kidney stone will be like, but it's very likely that I'll have more in the future.
Those are not
My
fun.
condolences, Alice.
Absolutely. Yeah, not fun at all. So just so we're clear, obviously, like I said, we're a safe space, and we do stream publicly. So that's one thing that people should keep in mind when they do comment and stuff like that. Because I tend to bring the comments up. If there's anything ever you need to talk about privately, I am definitely a safe space in my private messages. I can't speak for the rest of us, but I know that I am for sure.
I am too. Non-binary void partner on Facebook. You can find me there. You can find me as Alice Unchained on Discord, and my DMs in both are open for anyone who needs them.
I am also a safe space. You can find me through Google. You can find me through Facebook. Though with Facebook, send me a message first because I will only accept requests for friends that have sent messages prior or that I know. I also have a public platform on TikTok, which by next week we will also be showing our faces there. And on there, you can find me under Day 6 or the other Day 6, both of which are open. Feel free. I am a pan, non-binary, with a very liberal heart, and can at least sit with you through any kind of times. Because
I'm
even if you're
realizing that I'm the only asshole here that doesn't have their pronouns on their page label. Fuck. I'll fix that next time.
That's okay.
no worries.
It's
I only went that extra mile because actually Mr. did, and I was like, oh, Mr.'s got his pronouns up. I'll throw mine.
See, it's a twofold thing with me. One, it's a genuine gesture of these are my pronouns. I accept people using their pronouns, the proper pronouns. But two, any of the right wing people that are on my Facebook, that right there, just this part right here, will drive them absolutely fucking nuts.
Mhm.
So that's like it's a twofold attack, to be accepting and to be offensive. It's a rare quality, Oh, speaking of being offensive, I bought something neat that I'm going to take to these Pride events where my protesters are. Super, super fucking excited for this.
Oh, that's going to be a bad audio, bro.
I got you. It's also Bluetooth. So, like, I just get louder and louder.
So on that note, and the Pride events in my city for the last 2 decades, we have a group called the Angels. They dress in white with robes, wings, halos, and they will sing right next to the Westboro Baptist style haters that come on scene at all Pride events and try to make us feel a sort of way. And these angels will surround them and drown them out.
Hell yeah.
I love the Angels.
That's the best. I've also got a megaphone in the car, and I've got 2 more beyond that one I just had. So, if anybody else wants to cause a disruption while we're there.
Send the bus ticket, my dude. I'm on my way.
There were 2 reasons I bought that. So one, whenever I do speeches and I give presentations and stuff with like Shelby Pride and other places, I want people to be able to hear me, while being able to talk. But the second one, that's like, it just clicked in my head one day and I was like, oh my God, I can harass the people that are trying to harass my people.
Yes. Like the Angels have really diminish the voice of those that are hating against us. Now, like, I fully plan on making content about my local pride next month, and I will show you all the angels. You all will just be like, these are saints. These are doing the real God's work because they are out here drowning out the hate with love.
So do you guys think I could get away with dressing up and putting things on me to advertise like I'm from the Daily Wire and going to these Pride events and interviewing these guys and then recutting their stuff?
So what you do is when you have like maybe like a branded shirt or something that looks like it's the Daily Wire, you do just a real thin line through the L, so it's like the Daily Wire. So it's obviously parody, but the people who are assholes aren't going to actually read your fucking shirt. They don't read anything.
Yeah, they can't read, so.
They can. They just choose not to, unless it's like hating on people.
But yeah, so that's like part of my plan soon is to make that happen too, because we all know that media likes to cut what people say. So, when I ask a question, I'll come back and ask another question later, and I'll, edit
So what
it.
you should do,
30-second sound bites.
what you should do instead of like fishing for sound bites that look like shit is just set up like a set of questions and go like, here's some questions. I just want you to answer these. And then for every shitty person you ask, go ask a trans person or go ask a communist or go ask some queer person and just not cut it like into sound bites, but like each question, just play out the different answers you got, but have like 4 or 5 people who are like queer or trans and the one asshole. So he looks especially bad by comparison.
Why not both?
Because fishing for sound bites is really dishonest.
That's okay. I'm not trying to be honest to these people.
Shapiro!
Oh yeah, no, fuck Ben Shapiro. Bitch lies about his weight and his dick size and his height.
I did learn something important from Ben Shapiro, though.
Oh, what?
I did learn something important from Ben Shapiro, though. That if your partner's vagina is wet, there's something wrong with her.
I still cannot imagine saying to the world so proudly with your whole ass chest that you have never aroused your wife.
I know, right?
Did you not know that, Dacius?
No, I knew that. It was more the like I haven't read across a partner who I haven't.
I mean,
So,
show her some sympathy.
Say again, Alice?
Show her some sympathy. If you were married to Ben Shapiro, you'd never be aroused either.
No, I wouldn't. I sure as hell wouldn't. I'd be aroused as much as Melania. But moving forward.
Oof.
I wish I could do a good Ben Shapiro impression, but I can't. So I'm just going to read the tweet as is. As I also discussed on the show, my only real concern is the women involved who apparently require a bucket and a mop get the medical care they require. My doctor wife's differential diagnosis is bacterial vaginosis, yeast infection, or trichomonas, whatever it is.
My doctor wife. He never calls her my wife. He always calls her my doctor wife or my wife with a doctorate.
You know what? Kudos to him for hyping her up, though. Like that's something she earned. So fucking rock and roll.
It's never used as a compliment. It is never used as a compliment. It's always, you should listen to what I'm saying because my wife is smart.
So wait. Are you telling me that Shapiro's wife has a doctorate and is still with his ass?
Unfortunately.
Education doesn't mean intelligence.
Have a problem.
I kind of get the vibe that it might be something a little more insidious than not being educated, but I'm not going to say that on public because I don't have evidence, and that would actually be slander.
Oh, can I say it?
Sure.
That Ben Shapiro trafficked his wife?
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, he didn't traffic her. He bought her off of Epstein.
That's still trafficking.
Well, whatever. 6 of one, half a
I
dozen.
found her on Ashley Madison. Okay, moving forward.
Is that fact? Is that factual, Basics?
No, I know not of anything, so I'm not slandering against no one. However, I just hope that he found whoever he's the spouse to on Ashley Madison.
Well,
I hope. I don't know. I hope.
I hear that it was from Overstock.
Oh, snap.
Apparently, they met while they were studying at UCLA.
Are you telling me that Shapiro's conservative ass was at UCLA?
And that his sister set him up with his future wife? Yes.
Yeah.
Sisters like this. She's such a bitch. You know who she'd be perfect for to put my brother in his place?
I'm sorry, y'all. I need to thought after that one. That's just too much for me to stomach.
I don't like this shit talkery, even though I hate. I meant really.
So like,
I know I hate him.
let's keep the shit talking pointed at Ben, because I don't know that any of us have reason to have beef with More Shapiro. Fuck Ben.
Is that her name?
Yes, it is. It's More M-O-R Shapiro.
More Shapiro.
More?
Please, no more.
That's why they got married. You know, the world didn't have enough Ben Shapiros, so they have more Shapiro.
To be fair, her maiden name was More Toledano. She was born into like a Jewish Moroccan family, so like that's an okay like normal name. And then she got More Shapiro. Imagine how much it would suck to be introduced as Ben Shapiro and More Shapiro.
I mean,
How do you be
like
more Shapiro than Ben Shapiro?
Okay, if her first name was Moore, I would definitely marry her, just so it would be like that. So maybe that's half his motivation.
Do you think you would?
I
Oh,
wouldn't,
sure.
and I wouldn't, because then it'd be More Morningstar, and it just sounds like I'm stuttering.
I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut on all of this.
There you go. You guys don't get slandered. I do.
I would like to wrap your little conversation up with Miss Morris Shapiro. If you are in any danger and you do overhear us, and you know we're a safe space, and you can come to us, and
I'd fight Ben Shapiro for you.
Hell yeah!
We'll keep you safe from the man. Yeah.
Like I'm not
and
going
in my thing, I can challenge him to mutual combat.
Well, to be fair, I'm not threatening Ben Shapiro. I said if, which is a condition. Thank you, law enforcement training. If I had to, then I would definitely do that.
anyway,
I also want to just toss out one last little snippet of information that should make us all go ick. They only dated for 3 months before getting married.
Ick. Red flag all over the place.
So she didn't really get to know him. They got married, and now religion says you cannot get a divorce.
He love bombed the hell out of her.
Probably.
Let me be clear. I think I figured it out. Back to what I was saying about the purchase price. She was included in his tuition.
Oh
No.
yeah.
No, we're
Okay.
moving on. We're moving on.
Signing out on
moving
that. You guys can't get your shit together.
I can't sit here. I'm not going to bash a woman that I don't know. It's not her fault. She's
All right. I want to reiterate. I feel more as much for More Shapiro as I do for Melania, and we're going to go back to the safe space, creating one, maintaining one, and being an ally requires communication and boundaries, healthy set and well communicated boundaries.
And enforced boundaries. You cannot have a
Correct.
safe space where you compromise on your boundaries.
Indeed, Alice. Can you say that again, please?
You cannot have a safe space when you compromise on your boundaries.
you know, so like that's something like I've got that new forum going, and it's so I can move the photo threads to a more private location so people can express themselves freely. And it's 100% like free expression. If you want to put a dick pic up, you want to put a whole nude shot up, you want to put your ass up, your feet, whatever. Perfectly fine. As if someone becomes inappropriate there, they can be completely banned. And if they come back under the guise of a different person, then they can be completely banned. Like, I mean, it was one of those things, like, I can continue to keep it a safe space. Thirst is okay. creep is not.
Exactly.
But to maintain that safe space requires communication and a stern set of enforced boundaries.
Yes.
So,
with
do
the
we have any more talking points we needed to cover tonight?
Well, I just wanted to say that to me, there are 3 levels of being an ally. There's being an ally, being an advocate, and being an accomplice.
I'm going to challenge that as a trans person. There is only being an accomplice. Anything less isn't an ally.
See, that's why I fit, because like I'm down to be the accomplice.
Yeah.
You have
Like,
an ally always.
If the other side is saying, "Hey, let's kill these people," or eliminate the ideology that makes them, or whatever, then like they're advocating for genocide, and you can't just like stand there and go, "I support you." Against that, you got to be ready to pick up a gun if you need to, or a bear spray or whatever.
Alice, I think I can sum up what you just said easily. Give me 1 second. To be silent is to give advocacy to the oppressor.
I don't know that that's summing up because it's about the same length as what I said, but yeah, that's kind of the point.
Silence is compliance.
Silence is complicity.
So don't be an advocate. Don't be an ally. Be an accomplice. Step up. Be a human and advocate for human rights. And do it in every space you can.
Absolutely. And as somebody who y'all have seen grow tremendously, even in the short time we've known each other, you know, it is a learning process. You're not gonna, you know, if you're new and you want to become an ally, if you want to become an accomplice with the rest of us, one, you know, you're going to make mistakes, but you have to learn from them. You have to learn something from it and move forward and become better because of it. Otherwise, you're no better. If you continue to misgender someone on purpose, you know, like I'm trying to break the habit of saying guys, because I say guys to every fucking table I will go to at work. Like, you know, it's just like, hey guys, how we doing today? You know, it's just, I'm trying to break that habit. I still like, you know, it's just one of those things. But it's one of those things where to realize, so like when I'm speaking here, you know, and it does bother Alice if I say, hey guys, so I try to correct that, you know, or like even if I say
And
it,
I
I'm
appreciate
like,
it.
you know, I may say, hey guys, and I'm like, well then, you know, hey, you know, so Alice and Basics, and I talk about you individually instead, because I'm not good at grouping people together. So, you know, assholes is a universal language, so I might just say, hey assholes.
Some of my favorites are guys, gals, and goblins, and friends, foes, and fuckers.
Friends, foes, and fuckers. I have all 4 of that one.
Okay, I might move on to that one. I like that one. For evil to prevail, it only takes good men to do nothing.
If they're
Correct.
doing nothing, they're not good men.
Correct.
I like that. I like that phrase. Yeah, so educate yourself. Most Pride events, if you go with good intentions, you want to learn something and be a part of things and realize that it's not like everything that fucking Fox News says. It's not a bunch of pedophiles, it's not a bunch of groomers. There's people out there enjoying their most authentic selves. So go to these events. Go to the Pride parade in your local large town. Go to your small Pride events. Go to the Pride meetings if you see them in a coffee shop. You know, those groups are very welcoming. Go ahead, Alice.
I have 2 specific bits of advice for allyship. One, accept that queer people are like human, and some of us are going to be shitty, right? There are going to be some queer pedophiles. Unfortunately, they deserve the same consequences. Pedophiles. Period.
Sorry, you're gonna have to do that last point again. You said something about queer pedophiles as Dasix raised their hand.
So like there are going to be queer pedophiles, and they deserve the same consequences as like cishet pedophiles do, right?
Agreed.
There will be evil queer people, and you don't want to necessarily go into this mindset that queer people are always only ever the victim. because then you start like defending shitty behavior that shouldn't be defended, even if it's coming from a place of like trauma or past harm. Secondly, and this is specifically with trans people, learn the actual science, right? Like you can go read the World Professional Association of Transgender Healthcare Providers Standards of Care right now, and it's inside of it. The language isn't like it's all direct. I honestly kind of low key think it was written by someone who's very autistic, because the language is all extremely direct. They have like their diagnostic criteria and little charts, and everything else the layperson could read and understand easily.
Very nice.
And it's a WPATH SOC. The current standard is 8. Just go learn that. Like the big thing that's getting pushed to start the anti-trans legislations in areas is like outlawing surgery on children, and no trans healthcare provider is doing surgery on children. That is against the medical consensus, and you will lose your license.
So real quick, if we're referring to the right
Okay,
MAP,
fuck maps.
Okay, if we're referring to the same MAP, no, those guys deserve no quarter.
No quarter.
Fuck maps. They're pedophiles, and they know it's wrong, which is why they try to use a different phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
If you don't know what MAPS is, it's minor attracted persons.
Oh.
And fuck them.
Which is just acronym for pedophile.
Yeah.
Punch them in the throat.
It's like the same group of people that would like split hairs over pedophile versus like a febophile. No, they're all children.
Right. Like
go put your adult parts on adults, not children.
Adults with consent.
With consent.
Not children without the capacity for such.
Like it maps are pedophiles. It's just them trying to bullshit their way out of the stigma of being a pedophile.
Yeah, it's fucking like I heard that term for the first time like a few months ago. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I looked it up and I'm like, "Oh, it's a pedophile."
Mm-hmm.
These are the same people.
Yeah. See.
This meme.
So, yeah, from just being a bystander, you unfortunately, at this point and the way society is, you have one or two options. You're either okay with trans people being eradicated from society, or you care about all people. And there's not really much in between. To still support, it's like I said in that little video, to vote red is to want us dead. It's true. I mean, if you know what they're doing, you know what they're capable of and what they desire. And if you choose to do that, then you're looking at politics as some kind of game. And as long as you get your tax break or you get your cool benefit that you get exclusively because of Republicans, then you're putting actual people's lives second.
So like a lot of people that I've talked to who are kind of in the middle are like just straight up Republicans who've learned that people think you're evil if you say that. So they'll like just sit in the middle and be like, "Oh, I don't agree with everything they say, so I'm not evil." When the compromise between us and them is some trans people are okay to kill. And that's not a compromise that is anything other than evil.
Right.
Well, folks, we have hit the 2-hour, 3-minute mark. How about we give some closing thoughts? I would like to go last, unless Alex did.
I would somewhat prefer to go last, but I can go second. I'll be okay.
All right.
You want to go next? Any closing thoughts left? No?
I appreciate everybody for being here. All of you very much. And I hope you all find your safe space and have one and are able to enjoy and profit? I don't think that's the right word, but profit from one. Mentally.
Benefit.
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'll take the chaotic route and say that being an accomplice doesn't mean being quiet. It means if somebody says something transphobic, homophobic, or just completely fucking wrong in any degree, make a point to make a scene. Make them feel like absolute shit about it. It's like we said earlier, silence is compliance, and anything less than standing up for people like you see here or people that that are a part of a marginalized community, whether it be LGBT, people of color, indigenous people, any of those things. Like, make a stand for those people, because there's nothing to lose anymore.
Everything.
All right, you two flip a coin.
No, I'll just go second to last. Being an ally means being an ally in the ways that matter. If you just say you're an ally and you don't do shit, you're an ally to the other side.
I want to first boost both or all three of my co-hosts' closing thoughts. To be an ally means to not be silent. To be an accomplice means being loud when it is necessary. And one of the ways that we have forgotten that our voice can be heard is when we vote for legislation. When you vote for your representative, know that they are going to actually represent these marginalized communities that you support. Know that they will actually be that voice and amplify it, because it's the legislation that is hurting those of us that are marginalized. They are trying to eradicate our way of life, our very being, our existence on this planet. So to be silent is to be compliant. Be loud. And remember that not only means calling out the asshole in the coffee shop, that it means also showing up to the ballot box and knowing who your legislators are in which to put forth legislation and protections for these marginalized communities that we love and hold dear. Because we're all human and we all deserve our rights and our liberties and our love.
Very nice. Well, we'll see you guys next week. And next week we are talking about something that I don't have pulled up.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please. So next week is all about self-love and relationships, cultivating a healthy self-image for a stronger connection.
I thought next week was about like internet.
No, the week after that is the dinner.
I got him to change it because I won't be here next week. Okay. On that note, lovely.
Right.
Thanks for
everybody. Thanks for being here, and thanks for watching later.